You don't have to ask me, I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober. Bring us in, Queen Nifty. Oh, sick. I mean, Vex Man.
Yeah, Vex Man.
If you could do the honors of introducing the live band.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Black by popular demand. Quarter past midnight.
This week's trigger word is.
Hey.
This trigger word is this.
What's going on?
I don't know. It's all stuttery. This is why we need a.
What's going on?
I don't know what Chris is doing.
Oh my days! This is why we need to take dress rehearsal serious. Because everyone think they're a superstar now. Yeah, just turn up and perform. And everyone's too good for practice.
It's funny because I didn't clock that everyone's just sounding like bare off.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't work great on the Zoom. We can't gel.
Like, when you're performing on stage, we ain't got the earpiece in to hear the backing track.
Yeah, that's what
it's just all off.
Yeah, come back. And then you look to the left and there's a man doing a madness.
Yeah, mad. That was Chris just now. I don't know who sang those moves, but
anyway, what's the trigger words, man?
The trigger words are protest, racist, and movement.
Hey.
Okay.
All right.
What's the topic?
Well, we ain't got there yet. We ain't got there yet, man. We ain't got there.
Oh, we reversed it. We done trigger words first. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey. Somebody a bit boozy already.
Yeah, no. You know what?
We're gonna lose his job.
No. You know why? I feel like we need to, lean into the topic. We need to lean into the topic.
You know when the lead boozer gets furloughed.
No, I felt like we need to lead into the topic this week. We need to lead into the topic. So one thing I wanted to ask with all that's going on, is it a blessing that we've been inside? That's what I wanted to ask first before we lead in. Because I was thinking, since we've been inside, I feel like it's given everyone a lot of time to think, a lot of time to research, a lot of time to self-reflect. And yes, like the last few days, weeks, whatever, has been crazy. But it's interesting, it's come at a time where you've got the time to do so, as in self-reflect and do all of this. Am I alone in thinking?
You know what? I wish it was kind of twisted in the sense of everybody's now started to research a lot more towards the end of lockdown. And I think if I had this mindset coming into this, I think I would have done a bit more research and looked at a lot more different things. But it's like I'm looking at it now, but then as soon as the sun's out tomorrow, then I'm off, mate. So, yeah.
Oh wow, no, you can't.
You
can't
at a time like this?
Yeah.
Like maybe that was the whole process before, but are you now really?
Oh man, like if you're taking the time to educate yourself and reflect, like you don't want to just wash that all away when you get distracted by like lockdown being over or the nice weather. It's like, or it's like.
I'm for do everything up, but literally, because I guess it's the amount of time. Like, if you was doing the self-reflection and stuff for 2 weeks and then you could go out, it's different to being on lockdown for 10, 11 weeks where it's like, oh my gosh, we can actually go out now. So I think people are going to overindulge. It's like when you give up something for Lent, yeah? As soon as you can have it again, you end up overindulging in it. And I feel like everything that we've learned in this time could kind of fall on deaf ears.
And I feel like that's something as people we need to be careful to not do, because I feel like it's all great, everyone putting their fist up now, but then in 2 weeks' time, everything's been forgotten, sort of thing. And that's something we need to make sure that we don't. Like, if it's a movement,
it needs to be. It needs to.
Wait, Sings was about to say.
No, I can wait.
Take that shot first. Ain't no change.
No, but it needs to be a way of life. It needs to be a way of life. It
But
can't
this is
just.
what I say about diet.
It can't just be a
Like,
moment.
I don't diet. I don't diet. I just have healthy habits in eating, and it's the same as this. We shouldn't just be doing it for now, and then it goes back to whatever.
To your lifestyle.
Yeah, because I tell you now, there's a lot of people just waiting for it to blow over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's the hype now. Have your little time, have your little moment, and then after that, when you give up, that's when we'll just continue. Not even start again. We'll just continue, because even the madness is even everything that's going on and what's being brought to light and things like that. It's like I woke up this morning to a video of one or two black dudes in Coventry, I think it was, surrounded by bare man.
Oh yeah,
like, see that?
Getting bottles dashed at them and all sorts. Yeah. And then, like, because they apparently had a knife on them or something, like the Jakes just came and just took them to, just shift them to.
Yeah.
Not to think, right, maybe they might feel a bit safer having something to not go and, with intent to use, but at least for protection. You know what I mean? Like, it's peak times. Let's be real,
everything's such a catch-22 in it, because it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you're not. And obviously, I listen to Breakfast Club and Charlemagne, and he always keeps saying that in America, because they're licensed to carry a firearm, he thinks everyone should have one. But then I always think that if a black person does have one and they do defend themselves, they're the person that's going to end up inside again. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
True. I heard Killer Mike say this one. I heard Killer Mike say that one time though, and he broke it down with, in a way, this was a little while ago as well, and it was like, in a nutshell, it was like, well, if they've got arms, at least let me have my arms to at least, protect myself. It's like, if that's the thing, at least let me be legalized to at least have a chance, sort of thing. And it's a madness in America. But that, let me get into the topic, and then we can start continuing, because that's a good little segue into that. So, all right, wait. As the lead boozer, I'm just shift up the thing a little piece, because obviously, as I read out this topic, I might say two trigger words, but this is for those who don't know what the topic's about. I'm gonna put a little pause in there, a little pause as I read out today's topic.
I got your shot waiting.
Don't worry about that. You keep that. So,
hold that.
Today's topic is George Floyd, Black Lives Matter protesting, looting, Blackout Tuesday, the US and the UK police system. How does it affect us, and what would be your next move? So, in a nutshell, all that's gone in the last couple of weeks, how do you think that affects us, given that most of what we've seen is overseas? And what would be your next move? Chris, take the floor.
You know what? And I feel like, so I went to the march, whenever it happened, last week. And I feel like, I don't want to say this, but I feel like where everyone's been on lockdown, I feel like it was an excuse for people to get out. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want that to be the reason, but looking around at people, I feel like that's what people were there for. It's like they've been locked up for all these weeks, and oh wait, this is my excuse to get out. And
isn't that literally what I just said? What was mad, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, and like I said, because I was there, that's literally what I felt. And I feel what we need to do, and I feel like a lot of people say, oh wait, but it's US, it's not. And I'm like, there are similarities in it. It's like UK isn't innocent, sort of thing. And I feel like first thing we need to do is we need to unite. Because, and again, like, I feel like we are all fighting different things. Like, we don't know, like, if you get, let's say, 8 black people and you line them up and like, what are you? Almost said the trigger word.
I see you.
What are you? I don't know another word. Right. What are you fighting for? I feel like everyone will have a different cause. So I feel like first thing we need to do is get on the same page. We need to unite. And
you feel like all of them will have different, or would there be like a majority that are for the cause and a percentage that aren't?
I feel, you know, like I said, but I feel like it's a case of, for us to move forward, we need to be on the same page, and I don't feel we are.
Yeah, no, I know that, but when you was there, how did you feel that came across? Like, if there was 8, do you think there was a majority there for a cause, or?
Yeah, no, you know what? Okay, I'll say, yeah, the majority was there for a cause, but I still don't feel like there was enough there for the cause.
Okay.
And I feel like,
I
yeah,
feel like a lot of people were just posting selfies. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people was just doing it to act like I'm out here fighting, but it was like, were you though?
And that's
with matching the shoes and everything there.
The worrying thing is, we do this now, but in 2 weeks' time, what happens then? You know, it's all great, everyone putting fists up now, and then what? And you know what? With the whole, like, the statues coming down in the UK, I feel that's a start. I feel like that's a start. So, you know, we have been heard, and that's a start. So from there, it's a case of building on that sort of thing. I feel like the whole education system needs to change. The whole how history is taught needs to change.
Yeah.
I feel how we are looked at as people needs to change, because I feel like we're not looked at as equals. And I think that's where the problem comes from. Like, we are not equals, and it's so mad because I was watching Piers Morgan, and then it was a debate with someone, and he must have said, "Oh, why did you go back home?" Or something. And I was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "I'm here because you're over there," sort of thing. So, like, don't do that. And I feel like we need to be looked at as equals.
Don't you think that some of the history should be taught by us?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, obviously, I think the school systems definitely have to change and stuff, but I also believe that there are things that I'm learning now at this age that a lot of us are learning, which is great, because it's always good to still keep learning. Yeah. But I still think a lot of us are still saying things like, "Bruh, I never knew that black person invented that. I never knew that."
It's not even about the history being taught by us. It's about changing the curriculum. I went to all black school. I went to all black secondary school. I still didn't learn all this.
But that's my point. It's not about the school system. It really is about our parents and our communities, because when we talk about community work and stuff like that, everybody keeps talking about, oh, you need to open centers for kids so they can go and learn how to do IT and all these different things, but that's just occupying their mind for a certain time. I think having a center for children and keeping them off the streets, I think some of it should be education based, and a lot of it could be not just sign up to Fruit Loops and do beats. Like, a lot of them, I think we're missing some of that education that we can put back into our community. And by the time we do it, a lot of these kids have gone from being good little kids to then being on the streets. And I feel like we're missing that little link of when to educate them.
Yeah, like, you should be preparing young people to go out into the world and be young, responsible, educated adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, there should be the element of fun and, of course, creativity. Because you need to be able to express yourself and have fun doing that. But yeah, not to make it like extra homework or anything dead like that, but even just teaching them about who they are. I don't fully know, you know what I mean? And like, had that been installed in me from I was young, I might be more, I might have learned, or I would have learned a lot more about my history by now. You know what I mean?
On that now, and I feel like that's where the changes happened. So what are you doing different? So you say, cool, you've missed that. So it's like, it's on us now to make that change.
Okay.
So it's like, it's on you.
Yeah, all right, 6, you go. Hold on, wait. Yeah, 6, you go. Like, you might as well get your point off. You might as well get
just touching on what you were saying when you were introducing about we see it happen in America. Okay, yes, in America it is a lot more extreme because of the guns, but you can never ever say like we ain't got very similar issues over here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like if this whole thing, and this, you know, it's so crazy because it come like are you serious? Are you really still going like this, knowing what's literally just happened with George Floyd the other day? Like, you're still moving like this now, like today, knowing that it's like fucks have gone out the window. And it's like, this whole thing has really opened your eyes, and not even just the police, like people that you just either know personally, people that you could just see on social media. Like it's coming very clear that it is a highly, obviously we know the prejudice and, you know, the trigger word that I don't want to use right now is a lot of issues, but you know just how blatant it is. It's not as low key as we once thought. Like, yes, it's very undercover. Like, you might just not get that job or that promotion on a sly, and they'll bring it. But you know when it's like in your face now.
Can I ask? Do you think, you see the question of how do you think it's affected us in terms of us being black and things of that nature happening overseas and us reacting? Do you think it's also kind of affected the trigger words also to come out even more now and feel
It is
100%.
What can't do
like
use a different word.
Like when you are
found a slick way around it. Allow it. Don't.
Like when you are being empowered and you are vocalizing and you are, you know, unifying, that same power will also breed conflict. You know what I mean? Because there's always going to be good versus evil. When there's more good, that's when evil's going to be like, nah, my job is to be evil. This is what I believe in. So I need to up my level and up my game, and then vice versa. And then that's where you get the conflict. That's why things like the flipping protests and the anti-protest.
The what?
All right, cool. No, I'll take. No, cool. I'll take that. I'll take that.
No, hold that. This ain't. You gotta hold that.
Alright, so I'm.
Yeah, you can talk and pour. Wow.
I'm in my feels.
Talk and pour.
I'm in my feels.
Yeah, man. Vex man lose all his superpowers. Yeah.
Oh, brother,
Vex man looking real Vex in the eyebrows. Look at his eyebrows. Every time I look to the screen, man's eyebrows are woo. Man has got. Needed that. Them 2 shots. It's all right, big man.
No, it's not real talk. It's bothered me. It really has bothered me. And it's like the one positive, because I believe you should always try and find some sort of positives even in the worst situations and scenarios. But I think the one positive that's come out of this, and I hope it is long term, I feel like we're finally waking up. Waking up in unity. Yeah. You know what I mean? Go on, Chris.
And on that though, it's like, I hope we are, but then it's like, it's mad if we're out here today putting our fist up, and then tomorrow a black man stabbing another black man, sort of thing. It's like the unity needs to be there. Like, we need to know.
We gotta have the faith. I think a good thing is though, you can't say that's not gonna happen, because we just know there's this pure ignorance out there. But we can't say it hasn't taken an amount. You know that saying where it's like, I can't change the world, but if I could change one, you hear me? And I think it's doing more than that, than anything. Like, it's changing a bit more than one, like a few more people, like even ourselves, you get me? It's like, I'm plugged in, as ignorant as it was. There's bare things I'm now watching YouTube videos about, and it's like, right, I'd even understand the full understanding of the civil rights thing. I was like, you know what? Let me fully sit down here for an hour and a half and understand what this thing is.
So,
no, you don't have to ask me. I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober.
And using YouTube
man,
to kind of build that awareness now, which is a blessing. You hear me? Which goes,
man. It's like knowing your what's that? No, I was just gonna say knowing your history and that. It's like I'm very guilty, which I'm trying to change now, but just keeping it real. It's like I'm very guilty for not.
Has this sparked?
I wouldn't say not care. What's that?
Has this sparked the change?
Has it sparked the change?
Yeah,
100%.
You know what? Yeah. You know, one thing that I will say is, as much as we're doing our history and we're knowing about ourselves, if the white man doesn't know our history, that's where the conflict is. Because we can explain to him so many times about something, but until they actually want to care.
It's mad though.
But I don't even know it. I can't.
No, I was gonna say, do you know what it is though? Yeah, until we, and I'm not taught, and please, anyone listening or watching this, don't ever think that I'm the most woke guy or the most knowledgeable about our past and our history. I'm not in it. Like, I put my hands up. I need to learn more. But it's like, I feel it's like, if we really know ourselves, just in terms of just general common sense, if we really know ourselves, like, it's not even so much even about educating the, of course you got to educate everyone because each one teach one, but it's like, we would carry ourselves in a different light, a lot of us anyway.
Hey, yo,
you know what I mean?
Hold on one sec. I don't know what happened.
No, you don't have to ask me, I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober.
Sorry, we're back.
But yeah, man, just about, just when you realize like who we were and like who we are, should I say as well, is like, I feel like from time you have more knowledge, you'd be different because you'll carry yourself different. You'll look at yourself and you look at your peers, your others different, like knowing that you've come from like royalty and all that, you know what I mean? And it's like, when like, you really, obviously we all know about like slavery and everything like that, but it's like, when you really like deep it, and it's like, the more knowledge you have about it, the more you can understand just the depths of how deep the thing goes. And then knowing even till today, literally today, things are still going in because of the color of your skin. And I know it sounds really dumb saying it like that, because obviously it's like, it's that in it, but it's like, when you really comprehend it, like, it's
what's funny though? Can I say something? I feel like, as growing up in an African household, like, that's something my parents always told me. Like, they made sure that they taught us history, because they said the white man doesn't want you to know this. So they made sure it's like, know your history, because when you go out there, they don't want you to know this. This is what they want to erase. They want you to forget your roots. They forget all this stuff. So it is very important that now that we're here, we drive going forward. Like, we carry the youth, we spread the word.
No, different. And that's why you have to clue yourself up, you hear me? And it's true, like, it's not gonna change unless the white man starts to learn as well. But it's real. I'm gonna find it hard to spit the knowledge.
But you know what?
I don't know.
And you know what I say though? I feel like it's important to know, they know our history, because you can't do our history without them, because they're in our history. So they do know our history. It's like they choose.
I don't think they do. They choose not to know. I don't think they care to know.
No, I had to school one of my colleagues, 23 years old, and I had to tell her what the Windrush was, because she didn't know. She went to a private school. She's got dough from her parents. She wasn't taught anything about Black history. She actually genuinely didn't know why Black people were here. So because she doesn't know, she's not going to go and find out for herself. She's just going to think whatever. And as soon as, if somebody says to her that we came over illegally, she's just going to believe that, because she wasn't taught anything else. And so a lot of racism does come from ignorance.
And to be fair, there's a good percentage that don't even care to know, to be fair. You hear me? There's a percentage that don't know because they just really haven't been taught or are oblivious. And there's a good percentage that know there is something to be learned but don't care to know because it doesn't really affect their lifestyle. To be fair.
Do you know what it is as well?
Slavery happened 400 years ago, so they don't think they actually have to learn anything else about that. Some of them actually do believe that we've got equal opportunities, and it's mad because I want to be firing shots on everyone's statuses when people are talking, but then some of it is just like, some of it is definitely ignorance, and some of it is just that they actually just don't want to care.
All right, Kaylee,
do you know what it is as well?
After you, let's go back to Kaylee and with your point.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's a mixture of Chinese whispers meets a filtering system. You know what I mean? So, you know, when it's like, okay, people don't know. And as you're saying about your colleague, Kay, they don't know. And it's like, the white man doesn't know our history. But obviously, like, for the originals that was going on, like shooting off the statues' noses and that, and like getting rid of all the books. And like, obviously, of course they knew. Of course they knew.
But they weren't handing down none of that history.
You can't cover up something that you don't know about. You know what I mean?
They ain't handing down none of that history though to the grandchildren. Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why I talk about filtering, because when you're trying to filter out the knowledge as it gets passed down, it then becomes a game of Chinese whispers, where it's like, it's the new truth, because you know one thing, and then you say it to someone else, and then you say it to someone else. By the time it gets all the way down the line, it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know, I feel like we live in a time where information is so out there. You know, I feel like it's so, you know, the internet is our biggest tool, and I feel like in a way people have no excuse to not know.
Bro, it's even easier. I was talking about this with libraries. Like, imagine.
But people don't want to.
I know, it's crazy. I know, because
what people have to understand is, like, whenever I say things about people not wanting to or not caring, everyone's like, oh no, one day, you know, that they're gonna want to care. Bro, some people just don't give a shit, and it's just that simple. Like, me personally, I get really disheartened because it's like, Black men, I feel like we're doing so much to fight for our Black men and our women and try to raise each other up, and we're screaming Black Lives Matter, but then there's so many people that have kids out there that don't care about their kids, but that's a life. So if Black life really matter to you, that's a part of your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you take it back to that annoys me, because it's like, I'm out here like, yeah, our Black men are strong and they're doing it and doing whatever. And then we've got kids out here whose dads don't really give a shit. It's not, we're trying to get everybody to respect us. And it's like, the reason why sometimes they don't is because it is a bit of a joke. Because as you lot were saying, it's, yeah, let's go and march and let's fight for our rights. But then that same night, somebody's being killed.
Yeah.
It's like, eventually we're going to have to start to look into our community. However, what I don't appreciate is that because we're doing this whole protesting and we're fighting for equality.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
That's a show.
I said fighting.
Nah.
We do know that we are recording.
You said the trigger word just before you said fighting. It was a trigger word. It's a new day.
Marching.
It's a new dawn.
Everyone heard it. It's fine. Go on.
Whatever, I don't think I did, but go true. So
all three of us are saying you did.
So we're trying to do something, and what I don't appreciate is when we're trying to fight for a cause, yeah, and then you've got the other people writing stuff like saying, "Shut up!" Now you throw me off. Now people are saying, "Oh, but we need to start within our own community." Oh yeah, then Black or Black crime. Oh, but what about this? But for me personally, it's not the time. Right now, we can deal with that at a later stage. But right now, being as we're all on the same page, let's not try to divide it.
Yeah, it's just trying to unify who we could unify. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. There's always gonna be a percentage that ain't. We just know how just humans are ignorant. It's not even down to color at that point. If there was another movement, if there was like a Russian movement, if there was a what?
If there was a what?
And you said it twice. That word like that. That's mad.
Said it twice.
I know, that's mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there was like if there was another race doing their thing, yeah, you get me? Like, you'll find there will be people that won't be with what the others are doing, you get me? So you're always going to get that. It's just a human thing. So
yeah,
at this point, like
humans are flawed.
You hear me? It's about unifying while we can, while everyone's got an attitude, while everyone's got the steam in their engine, you get me? It's like, all right, boom.
I feel like,
but you know what?
A lot of people focus on some of the wrong things, and it irritates me because
I was just about to say this.
People are calling out companies, saying that these companies need to say what they got to say about Black Lives Matter. And for me, if that company hasn't said anything, they don't really care. So we're really telling these people, you have to care. And then when they do put out a statement, then we're saying, you only care because we told you to. And it's like, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want them to support, or do you want them to not support?
To play devil's advocate, I think it may be how they support and how they come out. Because I agree with that. But then a funny thing I see was the Yorkshire Teabags and the PG Tips replying to a tweet that someone said. And it was like, okay, you can see that was less about them being told to do something and a reaction to something that felt a bit genuine.
Exactly.
I'm not going to lie,
we're not giving people a chance to even react. We're basically saying to them, you've got to say that Black Lives Matter. And when they do it, because they're rushing to do it and they might do it the wrong way, that's where it gets a little bit crazy.
As you're on that quickly, just because I heard like just today or the other day, like there was some companies that actually are in support with Trump having a re-election. So it was kind of mad to see the list of companies, because it was companies like KFC, Snapchat. It was mainly American companies, if I'm fair. Yeah, me. It's like we don't have like Chick-fil-A.
You know why they're saying it's the company? It's the owner who owns them companies. He's putting in his own money for it. So it's not necessarily that the companies are
but then you start to see, you start to see who really run these things though, and where your dollars are really going, and that's the piss thing. Because like you might be supporting something, and it's like really and truly, when your little change gets to the top of the food chain, you know what it's really going towards. So that's another thing we gotta start wising up. But
well, and on that, and I feel like so as we're saying like Black Lives Matter, and I feel like it's sad to say this, but the reason why it doesn't is because we, I don't want to say this, but it's like we don't bring anything. So, and I say that to say this, like the Jewish community, for example, like if you trouble the Jewish community, they can remove their financial impact from society, and society will crumble, sort of thing. And it's like, well, it's with us.
We can do that, bro. And you know, I say that to say, when I was watching this civil rights documentary, it was like something that the thing that they done, what was it, for like 300 and something days, is where they just stopped using the bus.
Keep the money.
You hear me? And
that's what the compliment about that is that not everybody's going to do that. And that's where it boils down to.
That's the crazy thing.
Don't wear, they said, don't wear Tommy Hilfiger because he was a racist. But there's still people out there wearing it. So it's kind of like, how are we supposed to prove our strength when there's some people who just go against the grain all the time because they don't give a shit?
Because I guess every moments like these, I thought I said the trigger. Every moments like these, we got to try and drag as much people as we can into the pot and be like, yo, we're here now. You hear me? I guess, I get what everyone's saying, but
even if we had less people on the same page, but if we're all literally singing the same tune, it'll be more impactful than just having random people singing different tunes and just messing up the whole song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like everybody should have listened to their Rastaman uncles, because our Rastaman uncles have been telling us this from day dot. And everyone's like, oh yeah, like Winston's just a bit drunk, don't listen to him. Mate, they've been out there calling us from time, telling us about the white man. And but I'm telling you, there's certain, like the Rastas and them don't play around. They've been trying to educate us for time, but nobody's really listening. We're in a modern day slavery where we're still saying, oh, let's only buy from black owned company, but then you're out there getting your Balenciagas. That's not a black name.
It's because we're too far gone though. We're too far influenced. Like there's too much. The marketing on the other side is too.
We're not. We've come back.
We live.
I was shocked the other day. Yeah, I was speaking. No, as in we're not. Like, it's not too far gone for change. Like,
I'm not too far. No, I said we're too far gone. That's why we have to hit youngers. There's a generation that's too far gone. Now we have to learn and teach the youngers so they don't have that mindset. We already know.
I thought the youngers are worse than us.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about earlier than that. To be fair, I'm talking about like from a household now. Kids brought up with this in their thought process. You hear me?
But the thing is, it really is what we teach our children and stuff. Because I remember I was arguing with somebody on some status, and he was talking about his children. He was talking about his children always being dressed to the nines to go out, and I was talking about, like, if Ashari wanted Spider-Man trainers, I'm going to get him Spider-Man trainers because that's what he wants. But other people would look at you to feel like, oh, maybe she can't afford certain trainers because he's in those. First of all, Spider-Man trainers are probably the same price as bloody Nike trainers. And it's about trying to condition kids to be kids. And secondly, the reason why black people always dress up to the nines is because when we went to church on Sundays during slavery, that's the only time we was actually able to dress up. And that's because they dressed us up because they had to show that they had more money than the other slave owners. So even being dressed to the nines and going out and wearing your Sunday best, there's a reason it's called Sunday best, and it was still to do with slavery. So Go ahead.
I was gonna say so messed up because that mentality is still here. Like, for example, my aunties, when they go to church on Sunday, it's like, oh, I have to look good for church. But like, where has that come from? It's like,
yeah.
It's
yeah.
A lot of it's come from slavery. And as much as we keep saying, all right, it's so long ago, there's so many things that we're conditioned to do. And I keep saying that Black people, that we have mental health, and it's like things like hoarders. We are hoarders because we never was able to get certain things. So as soon as we were able to get something, we don't want to let that thing go. I guarantee you there's people still holding on to their bloody Craig David CD just because it was the first CD that they've ever bought. Like, we can't ever get rid of things because we're told we're never going to be able to have, and we're not going to be able to do. And hoarding is a mental disorder. That's something that definitely comes from slavery. So as much as we say, oh, these times are gone, we're still actually living through it. Beating each other up, that all comes from it.
It's crazy because I think like we're so much more clued up now, or can be so much more clued up now, but less unified. So it's like, it's almost like we need to find that balance in the middle. Like, you know, like before they were a lot more unified, but not as clued up because they didn't have the access to the information like that. This time we have all the access we need, but the unity's a bit less than what it was. Just like if it was a thing where they said, all right, boom, let's stop using buses. Everybody walk. Those who drive, you put your cars in a pool and you pick up wherever, boom. That should be a thing. Like, I would be down for that. Yeah. Like, there was old women that said they were walking 7-8 miles. Like, there has to be a point where it's like, all right, I'm 4.
Yeah.
At what point is it like, all right, let me get involved now. You know, it's like, there's gotta be a line where it's like, this is all right, cool.
But you know what it is though? The issue of that is that we stay unified in the wrong instances. And by that, I mean, if a Black person kills another Black person, you don't go and tell the police because then you're a snitch. So already there's the bad connotation from it until it happens to one of your own, and then you want everyone to start talking. Like, it's like we have each other's backs, but for the wrong reasons. Everyone's like, oh, free my guy murder, free my guy murder. Don't free murder if he's out there murdering people.
Yeah, but
he is.
Yeah, but that's more down to a lifestyle, to be fair, because even the mobsters
no,
it's
not even just a lifestyle. It's what we do. If you're in school and your boy does something, the first thing that you're doing is defending your boy, because you don't want to be a snitch, but then in the same breath, it's also teaching us that there's guys in jail doing jail time for somebody else because they don't want to be a snitch.
No, but I say that to say it's not just within the Black culture of that. That's just a certain lifestyle that people don't like tattletales. Like, I would say that maybe comes from the mob or whatever. No, that's not really something.
Karen?
Huh?
You don't know they're calling all white women Karen because they call the managers. There are Karens out here.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so but like if you're looking at like the mobsters and the mafia and all them things,
just the Black.
That's a death sentence.
I get it. But then it's difficult because, as I say, I think
like if you don't live that lifestyle, no one expects you to be like that. You know, like if you don't live that life within a lifestyle, no one expects you to be like that. Yeah, you're gonna say, oh, I wish they didn't, because no one really likes a tattletale or whatever not. But in actual fact, if you don't live in that lifestyle, you're not expected to be that sort of way. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't really.
No, but it's not even just the lifestyle. Yeah, I just think that sometimes we've got to hold each other accountable, and I think that's not what we do. Like, we will see, if we was to see like the police stop and search a guy, as a Black person, the first thing we're gonna want to do is go and defend that guy, and just be like, police, why are you troubling him? Why are you on him? Blah, blah, blah. In the same breath, if that guy did go and rob somebody and he does fit the description and the police are then doing their jobs, that's where the conflict comes. Because we want them to police the streets, and we said the Black on Black crime, we want them to help us with that.
You had me, so go on.
I'll go.
You had me up till that fit in the description part.
There's a conflict. There's a conflict of, I want you to protect us, but only protect us when we want you to.
No, but we do wrong.
But then that guy was doing wrong. Huh? If the police have got a guy, if the police are holding a Black guy and he does do wrong,
Yeah, if he's done wrong, then you know.
No, you don't have to ask me. I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober.
Things that are like, oh, look, the police have got another black man on the ground or whatever. Not even just on the ground, because obviously that's just wrong, but they're arresting a black man. I've seen videos and they're just like, oh, this is racist. But it's like, we actually don't know anything.
Hey, yo, first of all, that's the trigger word.
That's a trigger word.
It is the trigger word. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm just saying that sometimes we also have to hold ourselves accountable. Like, police brutality is something that's totally different to what I'm saying. But I'm saying that sometimes we also have to hold ourselves accountable.
But I feel like that's where the energy is directed. And yeah, like everyone could hold themselves accountable. But right now, like the majority of what's wrong is directed at us. So that's where all the energy is getting directed to.
And it's the it's the treatment as well. It's the treatment. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
For when a black man's doing something wrong compared to maybe another race, it's the treatment.
Totally.
Like, or when a black man, or when they think a black man may be doing something wrong, or could be about to do something wrong. That is the point. Like, white people commit crimes, black people commit crimes. But it's like how the police in this situation, like in this conversation, how the police react to it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
very,
about
very different.
Being accountable, because like everyone's accountable to the crimes that they do.
Yeah.
And until you know anything.
No, but no. I don't think
like, not every black man's innocent.
No, but sometimes we ain't accountable. Like, sometimes a guy will go for a job and not get the job and say, oh, it was because I was a black man. But hold on, he just wasn't qualified enough for that jous. Sometimes we've got to hold ourselves accountable as well. And this is my point. It's like the same thing that you said, Dix, the same thing that you said about us carrying ourselves a different way, educating ourselves, when people see us a different way, is also us holding ourselves accountable and making sure that we are on point.
That's an ignorant person. That's an ignorant person. That's an ignorant person. You can't account for the ignorant. There's always going to be a handful of ignorant people.
They are also a part of the Black Lives Matter, and that's my point. So as much as we're out there,
but that's what I'm saying. There's always going to be a percentage of those. Like, where even the hippie movement's got even the hippie boys and them have got a percentage. Because you know what? To say what Chris was saying earlier about people down at the march. Yeah? You know what? I also noticed when I went down is you will start to see that there are just people not there for the Black Lives Matter, but they're just to be against the system. Like, they're pro
the system.
Yeah. Wicked, my brother, pro the system.
What kind of
I owe you.
What kind of ancestral...
That was good. Pro the system. That is...
That's what you wanted to say, right? That's what you're going to say.
No, but whatever. Yeah.
I feel like I kind of threw up in my mouth. You're not supposed to be helping each other like that. What's going on?
But yeah. So
that was a lot.
There's people that you can tell are just there just to go against the system. They're not really there for the Black Lives Matter, but anything that goes against the system, I'm here for. You get me?
Yeah, but
like, you will see those people. There's always gonna be people that ain't necessarily there for what you're there for the cause. Like, the best thing we can hope for and try for, though, is getting who we can. It's the same thing. I can't change the world, but those who I can change, let's change and let's go forward with this attitude.
It just doesn't sound very organized, though, man. Like, people there for
bro, how could you organize that?
Motives.
If you organize something, and I've seen it on social media, and I'm a person that dislikes the system, and I could see this is something against them, how are you gonna stop me from going?
No, you don't have to ask me. I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober.
I'll tell you what would vex me, though. What I wouldn't want is for another situation where opportunists take advantage. It's like, you know, like the whole Mark Duggan thing from back then. Like, when it happened and people were whiling initially, and the riots happened and everything like that, that was for a cause. You know what I mean? It was for a reason. It was for a purpose. It was justified. But then you get next people just jumping on and just doing things to say that they were there, stealing bags of rice, stealing televisions. That was nothing to do with nothing.
Again, you're always gonna get those, man.
You're gonna get.
I just really don't want. Like, while it's so powerful and meaningful and unified now,
I'm not gonna lie, I would say
really upset
bro,
me.
That's a waste. And looking at your frowns and your eyebrows getting here, personally, I would say it's a waste of energy because you can't stop that. Again, that is just, you're gonna have that batch of humans. The same thing you were saying with the good and evil and boom, boom, boom. Like, there is no point in you focusing your energy and being pissed about something you have no control about. Where there is control over there, where you might be able to show someone about something that you've just learned that might be like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Boom, boom, boom. You get me? It's like there's more energy to be focused on. Like, you being pissed about something you can't change is totally irrelevant, to be fair. Yeah.
I just feel like we need a little bit more strategy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and more strategies and more leadership. I think with the civil rights movement, you had...
No. I feel like you're in the lead at the moment, and off camera...
I remember you said at the beginning.
The big talk.
I've only got three.
I know. I'm counting.
Shut up. Look, what I was saying is, with the civil rights, you had Martin Luther King up in the front. You had Malcolm X up in the front. Now, I don't know who's up in the front. I don't know whose name is.
As you say this, I'll probably be good. But as you say this, I was having this conversation the other day, and it's like, do you think a person could be that leader, like a Martin, or is it going to take someone already that's got that kind of power and say, almost like a celeb? As sad as it is, do you think it's going to take someone like a celeb to really rally up the amount of people we need, or do you think that could be found within someone like amongst us?
As Christian just said, Akala, I can't lie, there's something the way that Akala articulates himself, the way that he makes you listen. He shuts down everybody. He shut down peers.
He's very relatable.
I saw him the other day,
he's very relatable and educated. That's why.
He's relatable and he's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. So there's going to be some people that's just jumped on. I don't know how much I can listen to you. Akala, it's been years. He's been fighting for a very long time, and he always keeps saying like he doesn't really want people to make him be that guy because he just wants to basically educate people and whatever. But he's the kind of person that I believe we can go to and say, what law do we need to get passed? And he's got the answers. Because right now I feel like people are marching, but what are we marching for? We're marching for equality. Yeah, okay.
You know what it is with man like a Akala, because I don't know if you know Killer Mike, but like he's like a rapper in the States, but he reminds me. But you know the thing about them guys as well is they like being real. Like they're too real. They don't want to go too far that side because they know they're gonna have to start conforming on some way, or you get me, they're not gonna be able to be the person who they are.
No, you don't have to ask me, I'm far from sober. I'm so far from sober.